Welcome to our Tuesday morning Mind the Moment program and gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I am completely and absolutely delighted to be here with Jackie Johnson, instructor with Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and friend of the program. Jackie,
Hello.
whichever direction you're in.
Hello, Suzanne and everyone. It's really great to be with you all this morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always lovely to have you here and have your smiling face with us in the morning and your beautiful tulips behind you. Today, for anyone that's new, welcome to you, and so happy that you're joining us this morning. And a special welcome as well to our regulars. We know we have our folks that are that start with us each morning, so grateful for that. So for those that haven't joined us, we typically start off with a question. So Jackie will share something with us, a question to start us thinking. And then she'll share a few thoughts with us and then go right into a guided meditation practice. That practice is approximately 12 minutes and give or take. And she will sprinkle in some silent time within the guided practice as well. For anyone that's new to meditation, no worries. You can just follow along and everything will be explained as we go along. So after that, we'll have time for questions. So if you can go to the bottom of your screen, open up the chat. And once you open up the chat, if you go down to the blue drop-down menu, you can choose everyone. So as you type in your comments, everyone can see what you've typed. So with that, Jackie, there is a question in your mind, and I have a feeling it's just bursting, ready to burst.
Well, maybe so, Suzanne. So my question this morning is one that's really been very present for me lately. How is your heart? How is your heart? And you might just notice what starts coming up if something comes to you. And Suzanne, I'm noticing you're closing your eyes, and if it feels right, do sort of close your eyes when you pose the question, and then you might invite in a little bit more care and curiosity and ask another time or two, how's your heart? It's very easy to just, I think, respond very quickly and perhaps simplify what's going on with us, simplify emotions that we're feeling. People tend to ask each other all the time, how are you? And it's so natural to just say, I'm good, you know? So this is an opportunity to check in and really just sit with, how's your heart? And you might find that more than one response emerges, more than one emotion that you note might arise. So just curious what's coming up for people.
Yeah, and I'll start. The first thing that did come into my mind was open, curious, and also hopeful.
Yeah, I see open, I see sad. And I think I've had a particular fascination with this question, with this topic lately, because I recently lost my mom. My mom died, and also I fairly recently became a grandmother for the first time. Two really, really profound experiences. And I've been just really, really fascinated by the way in which emotions have coexisted, or maybe it's not exactly a coexistence, but shift very, very quickly, and how even in times of great sorrow, just sort of noticing joy and gratitude and appreciation and other things that emerge. And I've been thinking about Lisa Feldman Barrett, and I'll post in the chat, or Suzanne, I think I gave you these resources if you have them, from Feldman Barrett, about emotional granularity. And pretty naturally, I think through the practices that we're doing here, we become more aware, we're more able to note our emotions and cultivate more of that kind of emotional granularity, or a vocabulary of emotion. And Lisa Feldman Barrett talks a lot about the benefits of that, the benefits to our health and to our life satisfaction. So she has a TED Talk. There's an article that Suzanne's posting. She also has a website. I know Brene Brown is another person who talks a lot about this, but it's quite something to just notice as we notice and practice changing body sensations, all the changes, to also notice that how that happens in our emotional lives.
Yeah, it's quite dramatic for you to go through those two dichotomies at the same time, and how each one could help support the other in some ways, more so the birth than the passing. But that's wow, that's interesting and a lot.
Yeah, and to your point, Suzanne, there are times that I was just feeling tremendous sadness, and would pull up a picture of my granddaughter or a little video. And it was like, it's not a deflection. It's not, because I think it's important that we be careful about not doing things. We can certainly titrate emotions to the degree that, maybe we need to have a distraction for a while, and that's a healthy thing to do. There's a term, spiritual bypassing. So we don't want to be in denial of emotion, but we can find the and.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, and we have so much coming in. Sad, achy, a bit bruised, committing to opening the heart, tired, but in the right place and filled with gratitude, conflicted and concerned, room for more. Some feelings of condolences for you.
Yeah.
Sarah lost hers recently too. Yeah. It's a lot of that kind of a loss can be so filled with so many things. I've been through it, so it's challenging. But like what Jackie, what you've mentioned is just connecting to it and not pushing it away. But this is what's so important with mindfulness of our emotions, is sitting with them. So thank you for a very important question. John's a little worried, so holding you all in our hearts as well as you deal with these emotions.
Yeah, with this life, really.
Yeah.
So let's move into a practice, and then we can have time for a little bit more on this at the end as well.
Sounds good.
So just checking in and taking time to find the posture that's right for you. And that might be sitting. If you've been sitting for a long time today, feel free to stand. That's fine too. And allowing the eyes to close if that feels right, particularly if you're seated. If you're standing, you may want to cast the gaze downward, also fine. For sitting, just to minimize distraction, and really noticing the posture, just sort of seeing if there's a way in which you can kind of stack the vertebrae. stack them in a way that enables the body to really settle, finding a way to hold the head. So it feels almost like there's a string coming from the top of the head and the chin is tucked slightly. So without any rigidity or sense of forcing, more just a settling that allows the muscles to release because the body finds a natural balance. And taking time to scanning, especially in the face, the area of the head and the face, can be helpful to bring in a sensation as if there's sort of warm water flowing down. This is something we can practice in the shower as well, just allowing the forehead, the muscles in the forehead, in the temples, to let go, to soften, area around the eyes, through the cheeks, the jaw. Down into the neck and the shoulder area. And just taking a moment on your own to sweep through the body. And if you notice any areas where there's unnecessary holding or tightness, just inviting a sense of release without too much effort. Feeling the weight of the body supported by the ground. Noting the hands where they make contact with each other or with the thighs. And just settling into this sense of being aware of the body breathing. And you can continue to notice the body breathing as a sort of an anchor to come back to bring a sense of collectedness. You might also use sound as an anchor, noticing sounds coming and going in the room or outside the room, the sound of my voice. And if it's helpful, you can use the breath as an anchor in a more focused way, feeling the breath coming in and out at the nostrils, in the chest, around the heart, at the belly, whatever is easiest for you. The anchor that we choose is really here as a support to collect the attention when it wanders. No need to hold on in any rigid way. We're really practicing being aware of what's being known. And when the attention drifts away, coming back to that direct experience. And you might even notice that you become aware of sensations in the body. And seeing as that awareness arises, if you can note the range of sensations. There might be areas where you notice tingling or vibration. There may be other areas where you notice sense of heat or coolness. Noting how those sensations both change and coexist simultaneously. And checking in to see if there are any areas of contraction, tightening that aren't needed. Just inviting in softening. Checking in again with the heart. How's the heart? Seeing if you can make space for all that's being known. With care and curiosity. In this last moment, just resting and receiving whatever arises. as we bring the practice to a close, knowing that we're really naturally building this capacity to notice more, to see more, to feel some of the nuances of our emotional life, and to allow that full range of emotions and experiences. And this question of how's your heart is a question we can use throughout the day and check in with what's arising as part of the practice off the cushion, off the chair here throughout our day. So may our practice be a benefit to all, taking a few moments to just slowly look around, bring the attention back into your space. Feel some movement in the body. Taking time to come back. Thank you all for your practice.
Thank you, Jackie, for this lovely opportunity to just open our hearts to whatever's there. And that it is so true. Sometimes it's easy for us to close, to see emotions that we don't think we want to deal with at this time. And that can happen. Maybe we're at work and we can't deal with a particular emotion at that time, but just knowing that if we're worried or if we're conflicted, there's no reason to feel negativity about it, right? I also love that you were talking about the anchor. And for all, I mentioned in the beginning for those that are new, but we're all new every time we sit for a practice. Every time we sit, it's a new experience. And when you mention about the anchor, that it's there to help collect us and support us. It was a beautiful way for you to say that, we're accepting everything that's here. Our thoughts are here. Our emotions are here. Yeah. And they all have a purpose to balance us out. So yeah. I really appreciate all of everything that you've shared this morning.
Yeah, thank you. And and the anchor is it's a metaphor we use just as we anchor a boat, not so that it doesn't drift, but so that it knows where to come back to. So I'm curious too, what anybody noticed about, initially asking that question of how's your heart, and did it change at all? No shoulds about that, but just curious if you noticed different responses coming up. When I was thinking about this yesterday, what I found myself thinking about is I was noticing over the course of the day how the sky changed, and thinking about how easy it is to say, yep, sky's blue, and the sky's blue except when it's gray or white or some combination, or when the sun's rising or setting and there are all kinds of colors, or if you live somewhere in the north where you get to see the northern lights, so there's so much nuance that it's easy to miss if we're not open and curious and caring and looking.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. This is the benefit of practicing mindfulness and sitting as often as we can, right? We notice these things, notice different responses coming up. My heart felt hard sometimes. Yeah, Jennifer, and Sarah, sadness open to a spaciousness. Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Very, very timely practice for all of us. When folks were typing in about their different, where they were at the time, and as we looked at some of those responses, and someone said conflicted, and we can all feel those emotions. If we read that, we think, yeah, I felt that way, or I remember when I felt that way, or I feel that way.
Yeah.
Just sharing it opens us up to so many opportunities to support one another and to see how we've dealt with it in the past. So
Yeah, I love that, Suzanne. And to notice our own stories too, because sometimes we can get locked in by the stories we start telling ourselves, right?
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, definitely. And how, yeah, it's so helpful.
mm,
Colleen, tendency to go to medical after having heart issues,
yeah.
getting easier, but still there. Any tips besides hanging out here every week? Yeah. So Colleen's mentioned she's had heart issues. So it's natural to go to that feeling of, well,
Yes. And so I guess, when you ask for tips, Colleen, I would say that might be a place to titrate, meaning, checking in with your heart, perhaps. But if that doesn't feel right, don't force it. Don't feel like you need to stay there. Just as we say, using the breath as an anchor may not be right for some people and may evoke anxiousness sometimes for some folks. So sometimes shifting and using sound as an anchor, or using the sensation of the hands in contact with the thighs with each other, shifting to something, the feet on the floor, that's perhaps more neutral for you, that feels easier in the moment. And then if it feels right, to come back and check in with the heart. So to just sort of really trust your own wisdom about that.
yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. And the neutral place could be, just another part of your body that feels strong that day. If you happen to go for a walk and your legs feel good, you could really just focus on that part of your body that feels good at that time.
And movement practices, to your point, Suzanne, can be really what's right at a particular time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all of your comments and sharing these emotions. It's nice to have a community where we can feel vulnerable and feel supported in a vulnerable way. So that's where you brought us to this morning, Jackie. So we're grateful.
So grateful to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for your practice, and thank you to everyone for your practice as well. And we'll be back here tomorrow for our Zoom meeting format, and hoping you can join us tomorrow as well. So hope to see you again soon, Jackie.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.